My name is Thomas Ashley, and this is my FAC. I chose the YouTube clip in the beginning of the movie where Emmett he wakes up and he follows the instruction booklet on everything to do in the Lego world. He starts off the day by he watches TV and he eats breakfast and he does everything the instruction book tells him to do in the exact order to do it, and then he goes to work. And it basically, what the movie tries to show is that Emmett lives in this perfect society that is all like traditionally just rooted in order and like civilization, showing how it's perfect in this like sense. So the prompt that I used was: authors use portrayal of characters who are somehow trapped or imprisoned as a means to criticize society. Referring closely to the film and the book, show to what extent, in what ways these are true. So essentially, Emmett is entrapped in this Lego world, though he doesn't really know it, which it also relates to the book, The Brave New World, in the sense that John and Lenina and Henry Foster and all the characters that are portrayed in the book, they are also entrapped in this society that is controlled by the world controllers, and everything is set up for them, even from the way they're born, to live these lives just the way that the government wants them to work. Well, not the government, but the controllers. So it goes by alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and epsilon, based on social class and what their level of importance and social class represents in the society, going from alphas have it the greatest down to epsilons, who are essentially live like impoverished, but they don't know it. They like where they are, like they have no desire to be an alpha. So the first quote that I found was: "What man has joined, nature is powerless to put asunder." So, being that the quote is originally used as "what God has joined, let no man put asunder" in the Bible, the text shows how people in society today value the system man has built and believe that they hold power over all else in the world. This shows how characters portray society, with Mustafa Mond and the director thinking of themselves above others as some sort of elite class of people. So, in a sense, it even relates to this sort of Darwinism concept of that the strongest survive. And in the sense, though, they've created this society where the strongest are still the strongest, but the weakest don't want to get stronger, which is kind of odd, but that is essentially how society is made to believe for themselves, and how they don't think to get better because they've been so conditioned. The second quote that I found is that every discovery in pure science is potentially subversive. Even science must sometimes be treated as a possible enemy. Yes, even science. That's on Huxley, page 222. People don't want change in our society oftentimes because they like certain things the way they are, which exceptions, obviously. In the Lego movie and in the Brave New World, when anything changes and frowned upon and shut down immediately. So, like in the movie, the main thing that President Business tries to do is shut down all of the master builders who try to create unique things in the world out of Legos. And in the sense, that's also true for the Brave New World, because the controllers, even Mustafa Mond says that in the end of the book. He says they don't want individuality. They don't want people to think for themselves or to try and show that they're different. Like Lenina is a great example of that, because she is in her social class is actually classified as a beta, but she wears many different colors of the deltas and the gammas and the alpha. Like, she dresses up differently than everyone else, and she's kind of like the light in the darkness, which is this common theme with how, like, Emmett breaks the pattern of society, and he is the one who comes back in the end. So the point, like what you try and analyze with this whole situation, is what are these two people, Aldous Huxley and the directors and producers of Lego Movie, trying to show? Are they trying to show that, are they trying to criticize society and show that like everyone in society is entrapped or imprisoned? Or are they trying to show that maybe like just this overall theme of be different? And that's where it really does come down to analyzing. So the third quote that I have is, you're so conditioned that you can't help doing what you ought to do, and what you ought to do is on the whole so pleasant, so many of the natural impulses are allowed free play that there aren't really any temptations to resist. And if ever, by some unlucky chance, anything unpleasant should happen, why, there's always so much to give you a holiday from the facts. And to kind of look at that quote, it relates to how in society everyone is so conditioned today, and especially in the United States. I can't really speak for outside of there. There's a lot of people that feel like the conditioning like is overtaking their life, or they don't believe in it. They turn to things like soma. They refer to that and they compare it to things like drugs, because soma is a drug in the book. They refer to things like drugs or even like religion in a sense. They say soma is a representation of Christianity, and it's how people, they turn to something that makes them feel either like wanted or makes them kind of numb. And this is that's where you get in a very opinionated topic with how it's a huge comparison with how the people, so the main characters and minor in the Brave New World and in the Lego movie, they're so conditioned, and they've removed everything that they've turned to outside of their society, such as religion, such as drugs, stuff like that, that people, they're distractions. And in the end, what it comes down to is that the author and the directors of the movie are both looking at in different perspectives and stories, with Emmett versus with Lenina and John and everyone, that society in the end has conditioned society, whether we think it or not. It may not be with voices at night that like talk out of a radio, but in the end, we're all conditioned through advertising, through the government, through what we believe and what is like raised up on a pedestal in society to show that everyone, not just these characters, is entrapped and imprisoned in a society that pushes up things that are probably materialistic and may or may not be positive or negative on our lives.